Let's have a little look at harnesses. So I'm going to talk to you about a few different types of harnesses that we've got available to ourselves. So I'm going to start with our like recreational harnesses that we wear like in an indoor climbing wall, if we're going sport climbing, outdoor climbing. And then we're going to move on to some of our specialized kit that we might see at outdoor centers, and then some working at height harnesses as well that we might use for accessing or performing inspections. So yeah, let's get started. So I've got two recreational harnesses here. You will notice a difference on our recreational harnesses. You're going to start to have gear loops. So for your center harnesses, this is a bit of a no-no because there have been accidents in the past where people have like clipped in by accident to like a gear loop and it's not been checked. But yeah, for our recreational harnesses, we're going to be doing lots of sport climbing, trad climbing. You're going to want big gear loops to put all your rack on, okay? And it's good to have them spread around the harness that distributes the weight. You've got the belay loop at the front and you've got the two tie-in points, okay? Really critical to remember that when you tie in through the leg loops, this is the strap for the leg loop, but you've got this piece of material here, okay? So you need to make sure that you go through the gap at the top through the waist harness, and then you're going to go through that gap there as well, okay? So it's got ABS buckles, so once you pull them, okay, they will stay closed, but as good practice and following the manufacturer's recommendations, you do need to tuck your excess straps back through the little fabric loops that they put onto your harness, okay? And that just means that this can't get caught on anything. So if this does get caught, it can open the buckle, okay, and then pull through. All right. All of our harnesses, they fit in more or less the same place, so they need to be above your hips, and we'll look at a different option later on for when that might not be possible or when you might need to use something else. So yeah, they need to be above your hips. A good little trick of once you've tightened the harness up is to be able to put your fist down through as a flat hand, and you shouldn't be able to pull it back out as a fist. Okay, and you do need to tighten your leg loops. All right, you don't want these to be super tight because you still need to have some flexibility and movement, but yeah, you do need to tighten those up. This is quite a typical harness of what you might see at an outdoor centre or like a climbing wall if you're just going to hire one. So it's really simple. It's just got the webbing strap around as the waist loop. You can see already there's no padding. That's not going to distribute the weight anymore. So it's really made for like, you're going to put it on for a climb and then you might not use it again for sort of 15-20 minutes. You don't really want to be sat in this all day with your weight on it. This one's had its gear loop taken off, again, because it's used in an outdoor centre. Our belay loop is slightly different. So rather than our traditional belay loop that connects the waist and the leg loops, this one is just stitched into the waistband here and it just comes up as an oval. And again, that's more prone to what you see in an outdoor centre where potentially you're just clipping customers in. The thing to note on this buckle, our one before was ABS buckles, so they've got an auto buckling system. This you have to manually thread back yourself, okay? So once you've tightened it up around your waist, you can see the buckle is in the shape of an O at the moment, so that means it's open. So you have to take your tail and thread that back through, okay? And then that turns the buckle into a C, and that's now closed off. All right, so that's locked. The manufacturer is really good. It puts this little red bit of stitching on here, and that basically means that that's the minimum it has to be. So once you've threaded it back, as a minimum, that bit of red stitching must be beyond the buckle. If you get to when you've threaded it back and that bit of red stitching sits there, it means the person's too big for the harness. You then need to get the next size up, or they might be over the weight limit for your specific activity. But yeah, that's these harnesses. So sometimes these are paired with a chest harness, okay? So there's a couple of different scenarios that we might do that. If we've got really small children, okay, so they might not have very defined hips, and also in young children, their center of gravity is more towards the top of their head, okay, so their heads are quite heavy. They're not, they've not grown, they're not proportionate yet. Whereas my center of gravity is probably about my waist. That won't be for the children. So if they've got small hips that aren't defined and a high center of gravity, we would tee this with a chest harness. Or again, if they're on the other end of the spectrum, where they are quite large, but they're going to be quite top heavy. So if you imagine quite a heavy person gets to the top of their climbing wall and they lean back, they might not have the core strength to keep themselves upright. So that's where we'll tie that with a chest harness. So I've got two styles of chest harness here. They do both do the same job. Loads of manufacturers make chest harnesses. This is an older version of a DMM one. This is a newer version. So they all have this little diamond on the back. Okay, so when you're fitting it, you need to make sure that that diamond is on the back, on your shoulder blades, in the middle of your shoulder blades at your back. And they're really easy to put on, just like a big jacket. You're going to put one arm through one loop, take it around, and put the arm through the other loop. And once they're tightened, these two yellow buckles should sit across your sternum. Okay, so once all the straps are tightened, that's where they should sit. And then the square, the diamond should be up between the shoulder blades. Okay, so you might need to maneuver once you've tightened the buckles. All right, and then you can tie this in through a sit harness, just as a bit of extra security, again for the body types that we spoke about earlier. So if you didn't want to go with a sit harness and waist harness combination, you can buy full body harnesses on the market. So this is a Petzl Newton. Okay, so it's really quite easy. Where my hands are here is where you would put your arms through. Okay, so they're your arm loops, and then you've got your two leg loops, and then these are your tie-in points. Okay, and there's a buckle that's going to come across your chest. It does actually have a tie-in point on the back as well, that you can use. Okay, so not all do, so you need to make sure you look at the instructions and understand how to use a harness. This is a size 1 adult model, so it comes in size 1 and 2, and we can also get a kids version as well, which we're going to have a look at now. So this is a Petzl Simba. Again, it's the same as our Petzl Newton pretty much, it's just a lot smaller sizes. So our arms are going to come up through here, and then we've got two leg loops down at the bottom, and again these grey points are going to be your tie-in points on the front, and again they want to be positioned around the sternum on the child's chest. Okay, again you can get different sizes of these, so DMM do make a smaller one, or you can get some alternatives in like Decathlon, or loads of manufacturers make them, so there are all different sizes. And again, this is really good for our young people where they haven't got defined hips, and their center of gravity, center of mass is quite high up in their body. This is going to keep them nice and stable, nice and secure. It's going to hug them in when they're climbing. Okay, and when they lean back at the top, there's no chance that they're going to invert, which is a really positive thing. So this is an option of a working at height harness. So this is manufactured by Petzl, but again there are loads of options on the market, so have a look around, see which fits you best. But what you've got here is you've got a sit and chest harness combination. So this is your sit harness, and you can tell already it's got loads more padding, so it's going to be a lot more comfortable for a long period of time and really distribute the load and weight. And then your chest harness will come over the top, and this model carabiners on. Okay, so essentially you're going to end up with this on your waist, and then this is your full arrest attachment point or sternal attachment point. It's got an attachment point at the front. Okay, so your work positioning or ventral attachment point. On this model, 2 points that are going to be either side of your hip, that again you can use for work positioning, and there is a full arrest attachment point on the back as well. So that was just a really quick run through of different styles of harnesses that you might come across. As with some of our other videos, again, really important that you go and have a look at the manufacturer's instructions to make sure you're using the right bit of kit for the right job. And if you're not sure, you can ask them. Certainly Petzl, DMM, Edelrid, some of the other manufacturers are really happy to have questions asked, or reach out to some of the climbing and mountaineering community if you're not sure as well.